98.5 WROR. You won't believe what Joe and Andy said Friday morning. It's time now for Joe and Andy's Dating Do's and Don'ts, our advice to the single crowd.
Now, be sensitive about this one, okay?
We don't get a lot from young people.
No, listen to this. I'm in the 6th grade. She's very serious here. My boyfriend is in the 7th grade. Yesterday, he asked me to play doctor. What does that mean? Joanne Marsh of Holden, Massachusetts.
Oh, wants to play doctor, huh?
Yeah.
I remember when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't worry,
I
honey.
bet you do.
Don't worry, sweetheart. He just wants to order some unnecessary lab tests, perform needless surgery, and double bill Medicaid. Had a great weekend. You know, I was escorting television actor Bill Shatner all around town.
I didn't know that.
Yes, Emerson College asked me to be a celebrity escort. Kind of an embarrassing story. I
didn't realize this. When did this happen? Friday?
Saturday.
Wow.
Saturday,
So
yeah.
tell us what happened.
Actor William Shatner, one of my favorites, of course.
Yeah.
From Star Trek. I'll tell you, it was a little embarrassing. The mayor hosted us over at the Parkman House.
Mm-hmm. Very nice.
And we go out onto the deck that overlooks the garden. The beautiful Parkman House is right on Beacon Street.
Mm-hmm.
Lovely city-owned
Right on the
building.
hill.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And the mayor excused himself for a few minutes. It was just Bill Shatner and I. And all of a sudden he said, excuse me, but I have to, how can I put this delicately, answer the call of nature.
Yeah?
Do you know where the restrooms are? And I said, Bill, I've never been in the Parkman House before. Next thing I know, he steps out to the balcony, and in back where the bushes are, he, what can I say, takes care of business here. And I'm a little embarrassed. And I said, Mr. Shatner, how could you do that here at the mayor's Parkman House?
I'm shocked.
And so was I.
Yeah.
He turned to me and he said, well, I just wanted to go where no man has gone before.
Oh, Andy.
There is a convention of...
Well, obviously you hit her funny
Linda
bone.
thinks I'm making this up.
A convention of nymphomania.
In town.
Geez, you know what, Andy? I didn't happen to see that on our daily events calendar.
Well...
Gee, I'm surprised I just slipped my eyes.
I was talking to Bob Cummings. He's, with the Tourism Bureau, and he tells me there's a whole convention of nymphomania. In fact, I was over at the hotel yesterday afternoon and ran into one of the conventioneers. And I got into a very serious dialogue with her. I said, hey, look, who are the best lovers? And interestingly enough, she goes, well, you ask a serious question. I'll tell you. American Indians, according to her, are the most sensitive, caring, tender, and aggressive lovers.
Wait a minute now.
She says they're the best.
American
Indians.
I don't understand.
I don't know either. I'm not an info. That's what she said.
American Indians.
I said, all right, who are the second best lovers? And she says, Jewish guys.
Oh, wait, hold
They're
it.
caring, tender,
Hold it.
knowledgeable.
American Indians number 1.
Yep.
And Jewish men number 2?
That's what she said.
Huh.
So she seemed like a pretty nice sort. So I said, well, maybe we could get together for a cocktail while you're in town. She goes, well, okay, how can I get in touch with you? I said, I'm in the book. I'm Tonto Silverman. Have you ever wondered about your roots, where you come from?
Well, I'm familiar with my family's genealogy, if that's what you mean.
Well, I'm not. I'm
Why?
not. So I hired one of those companies that specializes in tracing your family tree. I wanted to find out, just where I came from. It cost me $5,000.
Wait a minute. How much?
$5,000.
Geez, Andy, $5,000 sounds awfully expensive to me. I know people who have had their genealogy traced for a lot less than that.
I know, but apparently they charge extra when they have to look under rocks.
Next letter. Dear Mr. Manners, I'm having Frank Sinatra. Wait a minute. That's what it says. I'm having Frank Sinatra over to my house over the holidays, and I'll be throwing a party in his honor. What size place cards are appropriate for sit-down buffet dinner?
Oh, really? Well, actually, very, very small ones. You only need very small place cards when you have Frank Sinatra over because all of his friends have the same first name. So you only need little place cards just to put the last name on.
They all have the same first name?
Yeah.
What's that?
Reputed.
98.5
Hey, I'm giving the folks at my post office something which I feel is a very unique Christmas gift.
And what would that be?
I'm giving them back all the Ed McMahon letters that I got this year. I got a stack about 10 feet high.
A thought occurs to me. When Ed McMahon writes, like, a personal letter to his daughter or to his doctor, and the return address is Ed McMahon, and then whatever his address is,
Yeah.
do you think most people treat it like junk mail? Did you see Ed McMahon as a return address?
I do.
It goes right in the garbage.
I do. Hi, Sue.
Hi.
How are you today?
Fine, how are you?
Is your name Susan?
Yes.
And you don't mind being called Sue?
Yeah, I do, as a matter of fact.
You want to be called Susan?
Sure.
Okay, why did you say this is Sue?
I don't know.
Come on.
My husband's on the phone. He made me pick it up.
You know, it's very unique to people named Susan. They do not like to be called Sue. Why is that?
I have no idea.
Well, tell me why you don't like to be called Sue.
I don't know.
Well, in my religion, in the Jewish religion, of course, it's a verb.
It's a
we don't usually name children.
Maybe that's it. Maybe that's it.
Oh, here come the letters now.
Hey, oh,
from the
Sue.
Anti-Defamation
Now, you just
League. Thank
behave
very
yourself,
much.
okay? Well,
Yes, it's time for Joe and Andy's world-famous dating do's and don'ts.
Holiday edition.
Our advice to the singles crowd, if you have a question about dating, just send it along to us, Joe and Andy, care of RORFM, 3 Fenway Plaza, Boston. As always, if we use your letters on the air, it's a damn miracle because we make this stuff up.
Dear Joe and Andy, I need some advice on how to handle my girlfriend who has become stubborn about doing household chores around our apartment. Sounds like an old chauvinistic one here, Andy. This is signed George Cobb of Carlisle, Massachusetts.
George, you've asked the right guy. You know, George, I'm a man, a man's man, a masculine sort of man, a manly man, a man's kind of man, and I know how to handle these sort of situations. George, there are only two ways, George, to handle a woman.
What's that?
Well, I don't know either one of them. Unfortunately, you can't be of any service to George. What's the next letter?
Dear Joe and Andy,
Okay.
I'll admit it. I'm a party animal, and it's that special time of the year. A party here, a party there. How can I tell if my new boyfriend is a party animal, too? Serena Brown of Lexington, Massachusetts.
Boy, how can you tell if somebody's a party animal?
Yeah.
Well, I really, let me see, my grandmother now was a real party animal.
Wait a minute,
And
your
I can
grandmother?
tell- Oh, yes. Are you
Come
kidding me?
on.
Joe, in her will, this is no joke, when she died, she asked to be cremated and have her ashes turned into a dip. Now that's a party animal.
Enjoy your party this weekend, and think of your pals, Joe and Andy, at ROR FM.
We do need another song. Let's bring him on the right way here on the Joe and Andy family this morning. I wish we had time to take phone calls. He's been gracious enough to come by our studios this morning. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jimmy Carter.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Well, good morning. I came by to thank you all for helping my daughter when she needed it.
Boy, it's good to see you. You look great.
Well,
you look
getting along
terrific.
fine. I was out running this morning early and looking at the beauties of the Boston area.
Now, wait a minute. Where do you
Now,
go
now-
running? If you're here in Boston, you must stop traffic wherever you go.
I run before you get up, and most of the people in this community, when the air pollution is low and not much traffic. But this morning I was over in Cambridge and I was running alongside the river.
So, Mr. President, what brings you to our fine city of Boston again?
I have just written a remarkable book called An Outdoor Journal. And I've come to Boston to give the people an opportunity to buy one of the finest treasures in literature they've ever seen.
Now, does this involve, like, boats and fishing and things of that
It
nature?
involves fishing, hunting, mountain climbing, getting to know the woods and swamps and outdoors. It's been part of my life since I was born.
I like
and,
this
I just
guy.
want to share it with
I
people.
like this man. See, I've always liked him. Now I find out another facet of his life. He's an outdoorsman. And don't bring up the question that I know is on your mind, Andy Mose.
No, I'm not. I'm going to treat you with the respect and dignity the presidency deserves. We normally do a very irreverent show.
He does, sir. I
They're
know.
going to have me eating crow here this morning, so I will do that. You know, we are delighted to see you. Now, the last time we had a communication from you, we got a lovely letter, a handwritten letter from you and Rosalind.
Very nice.
And it involved your daughter, Amy. How's Amy doing? Well, she's out of the headlines, and we don't hear about her anymore.
Well, Amy is in the Middle East. She's in the West Bank in Gaza for a while. Israel, Jordan. She's gone to Syria. Just already been to Egypt. She's with a small group. Amy is now trying to bring peace to the Middle East and human rights to the Palestinians and security to Israel.
Wow.
And she'll be over there for a while, accomplishing those very, worthy ends, I guess.
Following in her father's footsteps.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, she's a fine young woman, and we'll always appreciate what you all did to help her because
Well.
she was, she was so busy doing things to eliminate apartheid and to bring peace to Central America that she neglected her second-hand automobile and got a whole bunch of tickets. and she really didn't have the money to pay off the fines, and you guys helped her. And
Well,
we always will thank you for it.
Thank you, sir. We were glad to help out. I have to ask you something. You still get together with every member of the family once a year? Don't
Yes.
you plan something like once a year and everyone...
Every year.
What are you doing this year? Can you...
Yeah, we'll be going to Colorado and the last week in December, just before Christmas, with all 15 of us, and doing some skiing at a place called Crested Butte.
Nice. We don't want to keep you here because we know you're busy and you got other things you have to do. But, gee, thanks a lot for coming by.
Thanks. When will we be signing books?
2 o'clock this afternoon?
Where? At Laureate's
Laureate's.
place at 2 o'clock this afternoon, so if you can come by and
Sure.
get a great book, and maybe I'll sign it for you and shake hands again.
Love to do that.
Now, wait a minute. Would we actually have to buy it, or would you give us a free copy?
Andy.
Bye.
How do you think he's going to get the family together out in Colorado?
I'm sorry, but we're in radio, Mr. President, and in radio you never have to pay for anything.
I know the folks that advertise in your program don't have to pay you anything. I know the advertisers will be very delighted to hear that.
Thank you very much.
We'll see you later.
Really good
Thank
to
you,
see you.
Mr.
Thank you.